Millions of voters headed to the polls in Turkey today as the country's presidential and parliamentary elections got underway. More than 30 political parties and over 150 independent parliamentary candidates will be competing in those elections. Let's get the latest from SABC News correspondent Trent Murray in Turkey. Trent, a very good evening to you. Just take us through the elections today and what happened.
Yeah, well, good evening to you. It has been an extraordinary day here across Turkey. 64 million voters casting their ballot, very much a referendum on President Erdogan's attempt to try and get another term in power. 20 years he has led this country. And what I want to do, if I can, is just share a bit of breaking news with you. Because in the past 2 or 3 minutes, we've just had the Federal Electorate Council lift the broadcast ban here in Turkey, and we can now share some of the first results for you. What I can say is 11% of the vote is in. President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan is currently leading on 58.2%. His opponent, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, 35.9%. Now, I have to give you a bit of a grain of salt with that. Those will be smaller, rural votes that are coming in, smaller ballot areas. We have to wait for the big cities, Istanbul, Izmir, Ankara, to get a better idea. But certainly in that early count, it would appear President Erdoğan is in front.
Trent, there have been concerns about misinformation, disinformation, possible election interference, and also censorship, even with social media sites like Twitter being asked to stop some of their usage. Just take me through that and the concerns around that.
That's been one of the concerns around this race. Twitter agreeing with the Turkish government to deactivate several accounts which are largely critical of President Erdogan. Now, Elon Musk defended that move, saying it was either he had to throttle the entire site for the election, effectively shut it down, or adhere to that court order. We also know that on the state broadcaster here, President Erdogan was given many more hours of airtime over his political opponent, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu. But then we have heard from the Federal Council tonight that they believe the voting has all gone well. In other words, there's not been any irregularities that they have witnessed, but both camps are telling their supporters to stay inside those ballot centres and to guard those ballot boxes until every last vote is counted. I think it speaks to the fact emotions are running very high here and they want to make sure there's no sort of irregularities.
Lots at stake, Trent. When could we start seeing the proper results and get a proper sense of what may be happening with the election?
Well, look, we're being told that by about 10 p.m. local time, that is 9 p.m. Joburg time, we should get a much more substantive picture of where the country stands. As I say, it's those big voting centres that we have to wait for. To give you an idea, Istanbul, 1 in 6 voters is here in this city. It is really the city that will make or break the presidency. It's going to take time to go through all those ballot papers, but we are, of course, monitoring it very closely. As I say, early lead for President Erdogan, but I wouldn't be popping the champagne yet if I was in his camp. They are smaller booths in farming and rural areas. Traditionally, his base, how the cities vote, I think, will really decide this. We may have to be a little bit patient and wait for some of those results to come through.
Trent, I know you're going to be following those closely and keeping us updated here on SABC News. SABC News correspondent in Turkey, Trent Murray, giving us an update there.